正解。
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 102, Scandal. Open up the doors. When old Shen Furen were saying those words, her face was already a little sullen. The Furens present came over to watch the commotion, so not one of them left. Chen Rikyu soothed, "Mother, you must not get angry. Perhaps some guests went into the wrong room." Finishing, she gave a look to the maids by her side and they went forward to push the door open. The doors looked tightly closed, but it was not the case as they opened up with a light push. After that, one heard a shocked shout and both maids jumped in shock and took 2 steps back. Seeing them being like that, it made one's heart suspicious. Old Shen Furen snapped, "What is going on?" One of the maids did not seem to be able to stand up properly and supported herself against the door, but inadvertently opened the door wider, exposing the situation inside the room to everyone. Everyone outside could not help but to suck in a lump of cold air. The tea room was very small as it was originally a place to rest temporary, thus there was only a small cupboard and a small table set. Currently the teacups were smashed into pieces below the cupboard, and at a narrow small couch, there were 2 overlapping figures. One could clearly see that there was a male pressing on a female body. The noise that sounded just now was most likely caused by the falling cups during the dispute. At the moment this chaotic appearance was exposed in front of everyone without any concealment. Those Furen immediately covered their own young lady's eyes, fearing that they would see any filthy things. Zaire, who was standing outside, called out in shock, "Biao, Biao, young lady, Chu-chu." Chen Rikyu also shouted, "What?" Old Shen Furen was surprised for a moment and almost fainted on the spot. Fu Er, standing beside, quickly went over to support old Shen Furen. "What is going on with this?" Chen Rikyu had a slightly panicked look on, and in the eyes of others, it was a scene of confusion. After all, a scandal broke out inside the residence. The 2 people in the room seemed not to be aware of the situation, as even though it was a ruckus outside, the male lying on top of the female did not make a move, but the female was expending great efforts to push the male up. Heavens! Zaire covered her mouth and had a look of surprise. Did not eldest young master go back to a room after getting drunk? Why would he be? With that one sentence, those who were listening roughly understood what was going on. The young master of the residence was drunk and encountered the Biao young lady, who went back to change her clothes, and could not control his lustful heart and had taken her innocence. Kyu is always composed, so how would he do such a thing? Chen Rikyu shook her head. "It is all the fault of drinking too much." When she spoke to this part, she had a painful look on her face. Between her words, she had already determined Shen Kyu's charges. Shen Miao looked on silently, as this was a scene almost the same as in the previous lifetime. After Shen Kyu woke up, he could not explain himself away even if he had 100 mouths. Even though Shen Xin and Luo Zuyan believed Shen Kyu, the facts were laid out right in front, and the most disadvantaged was the female party. If Shen Kyu did not marry Jing Chu-chu, then all the Furens that came would be able to drown Shen Kyu with their saliva. At that time, what did she do? Shen Miao thought deeply and felt a deep shame, as she felt at that time it was shameful to have an older brother who took other people's innocence, and along the others she also spat at Shen Kyu. Shen Yu suddenly said, "Fifth younger sister, why are you not speaking?" Everyone's eyes suddenly looked towards Shen Miao. Shen Kyu was Shen Miao's eldest brother, and for Shen Kyu to do such a thing like this, it would also not look good on Shen Miao. But one did not know if Shen Miao would help Shen Kyu or have a righteous attitude instead. Yi Peilan liked to see Shen Miao fall into misfortune, thus at this moment she was rejoicing at it, but said fakely, "Shen Miao, actually this matter is not related to you, since your eldest brother is your eldest brother and you are you. Even though you both are in the same family, one cannot generalize different matters together." But the more she said so, the more it reminded everyone that Shen Miao was Shen Kyu's younger sister, and with Shen Kyu misconduct, how would Shen Miao be anywhere better? "I am only just very curious," Shen Miao said lightly. "One do not solve the matter but just talk about it here. Why not let someone call in the people outside the Shen residence doors to come and watch the commotion and make it more crowded?" Her sarcasm was like a knife, In a single moment it pierced into one's heart. Yes, such a matter had already happened. If it was an ordinary family, one would immediately think of ways to cover it up, but this old Shen Furen and Chen Rikyu seemed to be anxious to let more people know of the matter, and even talk about it at the doors. As for what intentions did they have, it would not be one from a good heart. And why was it done for? Chen Rikyu and old Shen Furen were somewhat embarrassed, but then heard Shen Miao continue speaking lightly. Even if my mother is not here, there should be someone who can preside over the overall situation. Can it be that now with third Shen replacing second Shen, third Shen do not know what to do? Suddenly Chen Rikyu's face turned green and even Shen Yu's face did not look good. To mention Ren Wanyun at this moment, everyone's gaze became more meaningful. Chen Rikyu got angry, as it was obvious that Shen Miao was saying that her abilities to handle the overall situation were inferior to Ren Wanyun's, and this was as good as slapping her. Shen Miao was after all one who had stayed in the inner palace for so many years, and which female in the inner palace was easy to deal with. Even an argument with words were also sword fights, and one sentence could have 10 different meanings. Currently her words does not seem light or serious but made one think far ahead. Was it because one took advantage that Lu Zuyan was not here, so one could purposely bully Shen Kaiyu? Now one took advantage of Shen Kaiyu's scandal and spread it out so that everyone would know about it. The most important thing was that these Furens were not fools. Previously they were shocked by the scene in front of them and forgot about other things, but Shen Miao's attitude made them calm down, and after looking inside again one felt strange. Even though this was a scandal, who could know if it was man-made or not? Old Shen Furen raged after Shen Miao's few sentences. Fifth girl, eldest boy had make this kind of situation. What is with your attitude? You still keep on being stubborn. Shen Miao almost laughed out, but she shook her head instead. This matter is considered a big matter. It is better to invite father, second and third Shu over before a decision is made. Old Shen Furen and Chen Rikyu were stunned. Even all the Furens present stood rooted. This was a situation where the less number of people that know, the better it would be. But why now? Shen Miao could not wait for more people to know about it. Chen Rikyu's heart was somewhat unsettled. She did not know why, even though everything went accordingly to her imagination, but she felt that something was wrong. Those doors were wide open and there was no movement from the people inside. Old Shen Furen wanted to close the doors but heard Shen Miao speaking with a cold smile. Do not close. Since what could be seen is seen, it would be burying one's head in the sand if the doors are closed. Whoever still want to look can take a clearer look at it. This was the time when old Shen Furen felt that something was wrong. She wanted to let people to go into the room, but Shen Miao's aggressive attitude was just too surprising. Since she is already riding on the tiger, it would be difficult to come down. Thus by trying to hide it would only make it more conspicuous. Old Shen Furen could only restrain the uneasiness in her heart, and helplessly looked at Shen Miao as she instructed people to invite Shen Xin and the rest over. Zhang Zhejuan wiped her tears and said, "The Jing family's young lady is still young, and how would the rest of her life be now that such a thing happened? One request for everyone to be my witness." Old Shen Furen spoke. My Shen family all the while have upright family manners. For such a thing that undermine the family principles to happen, naturally one will give everyone an explanation. Chu Chu is my maiden family's grandniece and is well behaved and sensible. I had thought to retain her by my side so that one would be able to find a good family for her, but who could know? Old Shen Furen looked pained as she continued. My Shen family is not one who bully others. No matter what happen in the future, Chu Chu is my Shen family's granddaughter-in-law. Without a doubt, one will definitely give Chu Chu an explanation. What a good pompous-sounding reason. What a good fake expression. If one had no knowledge of the inside information, Shen Miao would also agree with old Shen Furen's attitude and actions. Her eyes contained some taunting. Indeed, from a songstress background to be able to act out this play that lifelike. Sure enough, when old Shen Furen finished speaking, she tentatively won the goodwill from those who were present. Indeed, an aristocratic family dare to act courageous enough to take responsibility. With these words, That Jing family young lady considered to have someone to dependent on for the rest of her life. The Shen family's upright family manners are indeed true. Old Shen Furen's choice is wise. One did not think that old Shen Furen still had such a bearing. More than half were praising old Shen Furen on remedying the mistake, and half of them were pitying Jing Chuchu for encountering such a storm. As for Shen Kaiyu, it was portrayed by the crowd as a shameless wolf. Just at this moment, one heard a burst of hurried shouts, "Choo-choo, choo-choo." When one looked over, the people that Shen Miao had instructed brought Shenzin and entourage over. But this was considered alright as they did not bring those official colleagues over. There were only Shenzin and brothers with Luo Zuyan and one who was right in front them, Jing Guansheng. He strode forward, and when those Furens saw him, they gave way to him. Jing Guansheng stood in front of the door and did not go in, but just looked on blankly as if he was struck by lightning. "What is going on?" Luo Zuyan anxiously said. Chen Rikaiyu wiped her tears and said, "Eldest Cao must not be anxious. One would not blame Kaiyu about this matter. He is after all making a botch of things after consuming too much alcohol." Shen Gui and Shen Wan, who were on the way over, heard about the matter. Shen Gui could not wait for Shenzin to have a misfortune, so he immediately put on an ashamed attitude. "It is all my fault. I should have stopped Kaiyu when he was drinking. If he was not drunk, how would this matter happen?" "Second older brother must not blame yourself." Shen Wan sighed. "No one wants such things to happen. It is better to think what can be done next." "What else can be done?" Jing Guansheng's eyes reddened. "My younger sister came to this place perfectly well, but was set up in a conspiracy and lost her innocence. Naturally one must have an explanation." "You better clean your mouth." Shenzin got angry when he heard this. This person watched Shen Kaiyu, that brat, grow up, and it is not possible for him to do this kind of thing. "Correct." Luo Zuyan sneered. "Jing Chuchu is not a national grace or divine fragrance. When Kaiyu is at the frontier, how many Darans want to marry their young ladies to him, and any one of them is much better looking than Jing Chuchu. Do you think Kaiyu is silly to destroy his future because of one Jing Chuchu?" Shenzin was one who killed enemies in the battlefield and was unmoved by force or persuasion. Luo Zuyan was also very fiery and would not put her words out tactfully. Thus when the words were said, Jing Guansheng's face became pale, and old Shen Furen got so angry this time that she was speechless. But if one were to think about it, it also made sense. Jing Chuchu's appearance was good but was not considered anything in the world. Jing Guansheng's mention of a conspiracy was considered exaggerated. Shen Miao wanted to laugh because in the previous lifetime Shenzin and Luo Zuyan also defended Shen Kaiyu like this. Unfortunately Jing Chuchu spared no effort to look like she did not have any schemes. And at that time, under the watchful eyes of everyone, what else could be said? One could only admit defeat. Old Shen Furen called so many noble Furens over to witness so that Shen Kaiyu would not have any way out. Witness and material evidence are all present. How can one quibble? Jing Guansheng said angrily. "Could it be that my younger sister, a weak female, could force Shen Kaiyu?" "I initially thought that Shen Kaiyu was a gentleman. But who knew that one may know a person on the surface but would not understand his true nature? I want to report to the authorities." By reporting to the authorities on this household matter made everyone know that the matter has blown out of proportions. Old Shen Furen fumed. "Enough." She looked at Jing Guansheng and said, "Guansheng, you are my grandnephew and you also know how do I treated you these days. Chuchu, this girl is someone I like. So I am not willing to let her suffer from grievances even if others are willing. Do not worry, I will give you an explanation." "Oldest one." Old Shen Furen turned her attention around and spoke angrily to Shenzin. "The fault of the matter starts from Kaiyu. Like how your father taught you previously, the Shen family is of indomitable spirits, and since one had destroyed others' innocence, then one must definitely take responsible for others. Since Kaiyu had done such things, he must marry Chuchu and treat her well for the rest of her life." The Shen family was of indomitable spirits. This was what the old General Shen sincerely advised to Shenzin. If it was in the past, Shinzin would give old Shen Furen face and would swallow down this unspoken grievances. But this year, after returning back to the Ding capital, the disagreement between the old Shen Furen and his household got deeper and deeper. Once he heard this sentence and saw old Shen Furen's face, he felt an unspoken amount of hate and a fire of anger lit in his heart. Shinzin raged. I had said before that Kaiyu would not do such a thing like this. But Shen Dongling, who had always been hiding at the back where no one noticed, suddenly said, why, if nobody gone in yet? But it is said that the person inside is eldest brother. Is eldest brother really inside? When those words were said, everyone were stunned. That was not wrong. Was the person inside really Shen Kaiyu? From the start till now, no one went in to take a look, and what could be seen was two overlapping bodies. In fact, the Furens roughly understood in their heart that this matter was complicated, even though it was said as a misunderstanding after getting drunk. Most likely it had been schemed by others. But since one had been schemed to such a state, Shen Kaiyu could only called as being unfortunate. Chenra Kaiyu laughed. What is Dongling saying? Only Kaiyu left the banquet drunk, else who can it be? There is still second older brother. Shin Miao said breezily. Why is second older brother also gone? Why only my eldest brother has to take responsibility? Younger sister, what responsibility are you talking about? An unexpected voice suddenly sounded. That voice mind blew everyone as they turned back and saw that not far away, Shen Kaiyu was standing there clad in refreshing clothes with Feng and Ning standing next to him, looking at everyone puzzledly. Ning. Feng Furen jumped in shock and quickly pulled her over to reprimand. Why did you run around? I got lost after going to the toilet. Feng and Ning innocently said. One had walked around for a long time and was unable to come out. Coincidentally, one encountered the eldest brother of the Shen family. He then brought me over. What happened? Shinzin and Lu Zuyan were only startled for a moment before Shinzin roared in laughter. When that laughter landed on everyone's ears, there was some sense of elation. Shen Kaiyu was standing perfectly alright here, so who was the person inside? One has seen enough. Shen Miao gently smiled. Someone come. Let us see clearly who is the person that has to take responsibility. It was already too late for old Shen Furen to block them. Lu Zuyan's servants were all strong and courageous. Without waiting for Chenra Kaiyu to give out instructions, they had already rushed in first. Their actions were too fast that everyone has yet to react to them when they heard groaning from inside. Two of the maids were already supporting that man to show everyone his looks, replying to Furen. It is second young master. Shen Yuan clothes were messed up as he appeared in front of everyone with a flushed face, as compared to just now when one was shouting Shen Kaiyu's name but did not go in to check. This kind of evidence was almost irrefutable, thus everyone's eyes all turned towards Shen Gui and old Shen Furen. Shen Miao's sarcastic voice rang out. What? So it was all a misunderstanding. Without any rhyme or reason, eldest brother almost had to be unjustly blamed. You servants better open your eyes bigger the next time. If one were to spread a matter like this to harm one's reputation, one would be imprisoned. Younger sister, what are you talking about? Shen Kaiyu scratched his head. What am I unjustly blamed for? Kaiyu, someone wanted to push a wife to you. Lu Zuyan was able to say that out. Just now old Shen Furen and Chenra Kaiyu were forcing her, but now since it was now a false alarm, anger started to raise up and her words were no longer polite. Just as I said, our Kaiyu's wife must be someone I have seen and approve of. Kaiyu is one who abide by the rules. How would he just so casually bring a wife back? It was Feng and Ning who suddenly came into realization and said, what? I was all the while with the eldest brother of the Shen family and most likely he has already sobered up. One have only heard about forcing a marriage, forcing female to marry. Can it be that there is also a forcing to marry, forcing male to marry? Feng and Ning was also talented. She deliberately said it so exaggeratedly that Feng Furen's facial expression changed and she scolded, Ning. Feng and Ning stuck her tongue out and no longer spoke. Grandmother, Biao older brother, second Shu, now matters have become like this, so what can be done? Shen Miao said in a distressing manner, but her expression was as if she was unconstrained and carefree. Everyone could see that she had the attitude of a spectator watching the scene. What was slapping one's face? This was called slapping one's face. Old Shen Furen was in some panic as today's event was instructed by her, so naturally she had made full preparations for it. But why did Shen Kaiyu become Shen Yuan? She absolutely did not know what had happened, but when she saw Shen Miao's smiling look, old Shen Furen understood that the matter definitely involved Shen Miao. Shen Gui's mind also went blank. He heard that Shen Kaiyu made a mistake and purposely came over to watch the fun. One had to know that the rumors of a person would also affect the career in court, else those censors would not have such high salaries. Now that Shen Kaiyu became Shen Yuan and that this happened when Shen Yuan just returned back to the capital, was not this cutting off his official route? The young ladies present were still somewhat muddle-headed, but the Furens were able to see clearly. Today's event was clearly a play acted by the Shen family themselves. It was clear that someone wanted to use Jing Chuchu to defraud Shen Kaiyu. But who knew that at the end it became Shen Yuan the defrauded one and not Shen Kaiyu? Thinking about Shen Miao's attitude from the beginning till now, naturally she could not get away from how the situation became as such. Everyone said that the fifth young lady of the Shen family was an idiot and was treated as a love-crazy fool. But from now onwards, no one would dare to treat her as such. The person who set up this trap most likely did not expect that there would be a counter-check. As for them who were invited over to become witnesses, at this moment they also became Shen Miao's leverage. Old Shen Furen had rode a tiger and it was hard to get off, so she rolled her eyes back and wanted to pretend to faint so that she could get out of the matter, but she then heard Shen Miao saying, "Biao older brother, Biao older sister had encountered such a situation, you as her older brother would definitely be very upset." "Do not worry, grandmother just now said that she would definitely be responsible for Biao older sister." Suddenly old Shen Furen no longer felt dizzy and glared at Shen Miao. "Honor is at the moment still unconscious, obviously schemed by other." "Fifth girl, you better not speak nonsense." "Old Furen, what words are you talking about?" Not waiting for Shen Miao to talk, Luo Zuyan burst out, "Just now when you said that the person inside was Kaiyu one never heard you speaking for his sake." "Honor is your grandson, then is not Kaiyu also your grandson?" "This bowl of water is held extremely at one side." Luo Zuyan was not afraid to shed all pretense of cordiality. She had a fiery temper, and with those rattling words, old Shen Furen could only say furiously, "Are you rebelling?" "Grandmother, let us still talk about how to handle second older brother's matter." Shen Miao gently smiled. Her tone of voice was warm and did not display a childish disposition from the start till now, which made old Shen Furen much more embarrassed. She said, "What did grandmother said just now?" "Grandmother said that aka paternal grandfather, said before that the Shen family is of indomitable spirits, and since one had destroyed others' innocence, then one must definitely take responsible for others. Second older brother must marry Biao older sister." She deliberately learned old Shen Furen's righteous tone of voice, making Luo Zuyan burst out in laughter. Shen Miao looked at everyone. All the Furens had all seen this, and grandmother's words are always trustworthy, thus in such a short period of time, one would not forget about it. The noble Furens around all knew that Shen Miao had used them as guns, but they could only laugh dryly. Old Shen Furen's face turned red and white by Shen Miao's sarcasm and could only repeat again, "This matter is fishy. This matter is fishy." "I also felt that the matter is fishy." Shen Miao raised her brows. "So it is better to report to the authorities." "Father, your subordinates are faster, so it is still in time to report this to the administrator of the capital." Her voice hardly ceased when one heard Shen Gui's shout, "No." Shen Miao was surprised. "Why not?" Shen Gui looked at her fiercely. "Once it is reported, then the matter cannot be hidden." The censors in court were all very leisured, so if this matter was known to them, it would be strange if they did not write a report on him. Moreover, this was after all a scandal, so it would not be good to make a big ruckus about it. "Never mind." Shen Miao waved her hands troubled. "This matter have to depend on Biao older brother's interest. He looked at the gloomy Jing Guansheng and gently smiled. Biao older brother is the one who is in most pain. Jing Guanshen did not speak. Old Shen Furen angrily said, "First call a physician over to take a look." Jing Chuchu and Shen Yuan did not make any movement, and one fear that they have fallen into a scheme, and old Shen Furen could not let it go. One knows that originally it should be Shen Kaiyu who would be encountering this trouble, but who knew it now became Shen Yuan's, and she could not say anything about it. Chen Rikaiyu was busy organizing the various Furens. Those Furens and young ladies had watched a good show, and know that today was just a fight between Shen Miao and the rest of the Shen family. But at the end it was Shen Miao who won. They all kept saying that they promise not to tell others about it before leaving. Feng and Ning winked at Shen Miao before leaving with Feng Furen. Shen Yu looked at the messy courtyard and left in disappointment. Just left with a little bit and one could destroy Shen Kaiyu. Why had it become Shen Yuan at the end? Shen Xin and the rest also followed old Shen Furen to the main hall, as this matter has to be dealt with. Coupled with the reputation of the Shen family, this had been seen by so many people. It was no longer a minor issue to be solved. Shen Miao was walking right at the back when she was being stopped by a voice. When she looked back, it was Jing Guanshen that walked up to her. Shen Miao was small in stature and Jing Guansheng was slightly plump and tall, so it looked quite oppressive when he stood in front of Shen Miao. He had always been gentle and cordial, but the normally slightly smiling face had disappeared, and now there was only ferociousness, as if the wolf has shed off the sheepskin and finally showed its true colors. He said, "Fifth younger sister, this is your doing, right?" "Yes," Shen Miao admitted frankly, as he did not expect Shen Miao would say so. Jing Guanshen was first surprised before he lifted a fist at Shen Miao. Jing's and Gu Yu quickly went up to block as Shen Miao coldly looked at him. "It is done by me, what can you do to me? You are shameless." Jing Guansheng growled, "The shameless one is me?" Shen Miao looked at him. "Biao older brother, do you dare to say you do not have any knowledge of today's matter?" Jing Guanshen was stunned as he glared at her. As Jing Chuchu's older brother, how would Jing Guansheng not know old Shen Furen's plan? It was very beneficial for him if Jing Chuchu became Shen Kaiyu's Furen, but who knew that at the end it became Shen Yuan's? Letting one's younger sister to become a bargaining chip. "But now call me shameless." "Biao older brother, do you not find that you are just too nauseating? Since the matter has become a foregone conclusion, why not Biao older brother think in a different way?" Shen Miao looked at him calmly and unruffled in the midst of chaos. Since Biao older sister has lost her innocence in front of so many people, it would be difficult to be Biao older brother's bargaining chip and marry a good family in the future, as who would be willing to marry second-hand shoes? She said it so viciously, making Jing Guanshen to clench his fist. But he had to admit that what Shen Miao said was not wrong. He finally understood the meaning of losing the bait along with the fish. With Jing Chuchu's current situation, in the future no good family would be willing to take her, much less wealthy families. "Biao older brother, seeing that we are cousins, let me remind you." Shen Miao smiled cordially, "For you all, as long as one married into the Shen family, it is considered as climbing up the high branches. Since it is that case, what is the difference between marrying to eldest brother or second older brother?" Jing Guanshen's mind moved a little as he looked at Shen Miao without saying a word. "Speaking of which, my second older brother entered official demand at a young age and his future prospects are also bright. As compared to my eldest brother, he is also excellent. Since both ways are using one's younger sister to pave the way for the future, since the person on the bed has become second older brother, then is not good to change from becoming eldest Sao to second Sao. Anyway, there would not be any harm to you at all." She looked at her fingernails, and one do not know who she was talking to. In order to live, one must know how to change.